Is June 17th, 2025. This one is entitled We Wait for All Out War. And that is kind of what we're going on right now. We're in a bit of a holding pattern. We've been doing the intel and tabulating since late last night after the last version. Things are not changing. I was telling other people I talked to, I basically go to bed and I wake up every morning hoping there will be some kind of there's a ceasefire or whatever, and it just never ever seems to materialize. It just keeps muddling along, and it's really tough to figure out now. We're getting into that real fog of war phase. Both sides are in a full on propaganda. Israel is able to just do anything they want, and the Ayatollah is already in Russia and blah blah blah. And then on the Iranian side, they're waiting for the right moment, and they're not going to be taken out, and they're totally hardcore and ready and waiting. So it's whatever you want to make of it right now. Nobody really knows the exact end of all this. So what I can tell you is that we are not in an all-out war yet, and I know that's kind of hard to believe, but it could get worse. And so what we don't want is that. So we're going to take you through it. Got a good amount here, as I usually do. The coffers of open source intel are wide open and filling up daily. My cup overfloweth. So we're going to tell you all about it and get a clear picture of what is going on. By the way, on my big channel, PrepperNow, I'm going to be doing the 5 Wise Men of Prepping again. For those that know or have seen the first 2, this is the 3rd installment. We do them every few months. These are people I really like to watch. These are other channels I know in the background that I think have good, intelligent stuff. And that would be Modern Refugee, who is an old school prepper with great common sense. That is Prepper Dog, who is a great prepping channel that takes a biblical side of things. That is Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, which is just great old school survival tactics and a disdain for the BS. And then there is the Roaming Prepper, very intelligent guy when it comes to history, and a prepper that, does what I just did when we went to Europe. He is always on the move. So these are great channels. We like to come in and talk to them, and I'd say we're due. There's so much going on that it's time for us to get together and have a conversation. If you have not seen the first 2 of these installments, one was in December, I think the other one was in February or March, so we're due. They're awesome. I could literally talk to these guys all night long. And so if you are into that and listening to some of the thoughts of some diverse yet discerning voices out there in the YouTube prepper preparedness community, this is a great thing to do. I'm not sure exactly what on Sunday. It'll probably be 7:30, 8 o'clock. I got to work that out. But we will be doing that on Sunday. I've gotten everybody to agree. So I got to figure out an exact time. I'm kind of thinking 7:30, 8 o'clock. That tends to be a good one. I don't like to stream when other people are going on. I really don't. I don't want to challenge other prepper channels and have them go. I'm not going to sit there and not go on if other people are on. But I don't like to go up against Pinball or Magic or Angry or any of the great channels out there. I want them to have everybody focus on what they're saying. I can tell you, as a prepper and a prepper channel in this community for the last 5 years, these are great folks to be listening to. They're usually tip of the spear ahead of what is going on. And they've got great common sense, discerning ideas that you should be listening to. They're preppers and they're doing what they're doing for a reason, because they're smart, and we don't all get it right all the time. But when you listen to multiple things, it tends to kind of shade out a proper image of what is really going on. And that's what we do here on the Crisis Report. So we're going to get started now on the intel about 5 minutes in, for those that are busier than we are and can't sit here and stand it when we blather on, but we got to get people in the room. So let's get started. Please share this out if you like what we're doing here. please consider becoming a member like KP Heathen and others. It is just $2 a month. It helps to fuel and keep things going here and keep the intel rolling. You can also join us on Subscribestar or Locals or Substack. I have a Substack that's almost to 500 members there. Some pay, some don't. It just depends on you. Everything I do here is free if you want it. And if you like what we're doing, we hope that you will give a little something for the effort. But if not, and it's tough out there right now, and we all know it is, I understand. So here we go. This is your June 17th AM or daytime crisis report. We wait for all-out war. Trump wants Iran to abandon the nukes, but knows that the neocons pushing a regime change war are out of their minds. A regime change war in Iran would just lead to massively higher energy prices, more refugees pouring into Europe, and the USA picking up the bill for all of it. That is from Jack Posobiec. If you know him, he is a conservative voice. Big fan of the president. But I think what he says here kind of gives us a little bit of what is going on in the mind, in the background of Trump. I do think he does believe this. He knows that if we do go in there and take out the Ayatollah, it's going to lead to higher prices, more refugees, and us picking up the bill. And we don't want that. None of us want war. None of us want this crap to go on. If Israel wants to fight this war or whatever, let them do it, but let's not have America enter. But it is very possible that America will enter. 4 U.S. Air Force KC-135 aerial refueling strato tankers departed from air bases in the United States, heading northeast towards the Atlantic last hour. So it's about 1 a.m. last night when I started to tabulate, including several of these KC-135s. These have been ongoing for the last few days. I think we're well over 30. We're probably almost about 45 or 50 of these things going east, showing a real show of force. Masumeh Azimi, worker from the Iranian regime's Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, declared dead after the Israeli bombings on their headquarters yesterday. Photos are currently circulating, which appear to show 3 ships on fire on the coast of Iran, Gulf of Oman, near the Strait of Hormuz. They think it might have happened because there was jamming in the Strait of Hormuz by supposedly Iran, and these boats got lost and hit each other. Flight cancellations, Iran extended to 2 p.m. Tuesday. Polymarket now placing 60% chance of a yes on Khomeini out as supreme leader. 3 targeted strikes hit an apartment in a building in northeastern Tehran. Apparent hit attempt. Initial reports suggest that one of the vessels involved in the incident of the tanker was called the Adeline, flagged to Antigua and Barbuda. Another was the open source data shows the vessel departed from the port of Fujairah, United Arab Emirates, en route to the Suez Canal in Egypt. The other one, I believe, is called the Eagle Forward or Eagle, I forget what it's called, Eagle something. Another old, Front Eagle, there it is. Sailing under the Liberian flag, been completely stationary for approximately 6 hours, located just 1 nautical mile from where the Ambry reported a maritime incident. Satellite-directed thermal signatures were also recorded. NASA was recording this. According to open source data, the vessel broadcasts an AIS, if I can speak, automatic identification system status of not under command, which means that the tanker has lost control, navigation, and or must be avoided by other ships. So it remains unclear which vessels were involved in the incident or whether they caused the fire. But the Strait of Hormuz is the larger conversation. And the problem is that the Strait of Hormuz starts to really see problems and issues. You're going to see oil, you're going to see energy prices start to skyrocket. And we've already seen in our area a gas price raise of about a quarter, 25 cents. So we filled all our stuff up the last 48 hours, so we got ahead of the game. We're at about 285 to 295 depending. So wherever you are at in your gas, put it into the chat. Tell me where you're at. Where's your gas now? Has it gone up? Say, $2.75 to $3 or whatever. Tell me how it's gone, okay? Taz Riot, thanks so much, brother, for being a member. United States Indo-Pac Command has raised the Force Protection Condition, or FPCON, from Alpha to Bravo, all bases in the area of responsibility. This is across many of the different things. All installations across Indo-Pac area of responsibility, FPCON is now from Alpha to Bravo precautionary measure. Adjustment is part of the ongoing commitment to ensuring the safety of personnel, families, and mission capabilities. No specific threats at this time. The change reflects a general increase in vigilance due to the Department of Defense and security protocols. Personnel and visitors and installations on the peninsula may notice increased random anti-terrorism measures and are encouraged to remain alert and report suspicious activities. This is across all of our bases, basically everywhere, okay? That is CENTCOM, that is AFRICOM, that is INDOPAC, all of them. 4 more aircraft take off and head towards the east over the Atlantic from Langley, C-17A. C-17A from Dover, another C-17A and a C-85M, which I believe is the Galaxy. Overall to 45. 15% of American aerial refueling capabilities are on its way to Europe as we speak or already there. Wagers on poly market for U.S. military action against Iran before July have surged by 32%. They're probably going up farther than that. U.S. officials said our forces in the Middle East are maintaining a defensive posture, and we are not currently conducting any attack against Iran. Still in that holding pattern. Heavy attack has also been reported in Parshin, located 30 kilometers southeast of Tehran. CNN, citing a U.S. official, said Trump has directed his aides to try to arrange a meeting with Iranian officials as soon as possible. Trump is playing his cards close to his vest. He said a lot of things that are kind of contradictory, but as we all know and have learned through his second term, that's his modus operandi. Israel's attacks on Iran tonight. This is all the places last night. Israel drones hit several locations in Iran. That was Tehran, Kasbin, Avaz, Shiraz, Parshin, Mashhad, Natanz, Karamabad, and Arak. Rubio is returning to Washington with Trump, according to CNN. United States will join Israel offensively in its military operation. CBS has reported they have since walked that back, say that we're kind of waiting. U.S. officials fear a U.S. strike on Iran will lead to a bigger Iranian retaliation against Israel that drains the U.S. global stockpile of interceptors to a horrendous level. And I think we have a new thing of what's going on with Iran. I've been reading this, and some of the statements I'll say later, but we'll let the cat out of the bag right now. Iran is doing these little 5 to 25 little missile salvos. They're not doing much, but they're enough to kind of keep the air defense systems active. And the evolving and emerging theory now is that they're trying to just basically use up as much of the air defense systems as possible. And then once they feel that the Israelis are not quite there with all of their air defense systems in place and they've been worn out and exhausted, at that point they're going to do a major salvo. And they are getting some of their missiles through. The Iron Dome, or the defense system of air from the Israelis, has not been quite as effective as the initial 24 hours. U.S. officials fear a U.S. strike on Iran will lead to a bigger Iranian retaliation. Israel drains global stockpile of interceptors. Iran's 8-year-old gymnast, Tara Hajimiri, has been killed during Israel's attacks on civilian residential areas. You're going to start to hear about lots of innocent women and children all being taken out left and right because, well, war is HE double hockey sticks, and those people kind of tend to pull at the heartstrings. 5 additional U.S. Army tankers lifting and heading for the east routes. White House has denied Channel 14's report claiming the U.S. aircraft participated in the attacks on Iran. I called that as BS yesterday. President Trump left the G7 meeting saying, "I have to go back." Rubio says, according to estimates, a limited number of missiles were launched from Iran toward northern Israel. Al Jazeera. Trump administration discussed a proposed meeting with Iran next Monday. The meeting has not been finalized, but it is part of Trump's attempt to move away from war and return to negotiations. Netanyahu is trying to pressure Trump to join the war and bomb the Iranian Fordow facility. Washington sees the bombs needed to destroy the Fordow facility as leverage to pressure Iran into a deal. Smoke rising in Kiev after Russian attacks. They've been very active over there. Everybody's forgetting about that conflict. Russia over the last 24 to 48 hours has been just going crazy on Kiev. As of now, 14 people are known to have died and 44 injured. I'm sure that number has gone up. Trump weighing whether to enter the war and destroy the nuclear enrichment facility in Fordow, which only American bunker busters can reach. New York Times. Russian armed forces launched a massive assault with hundreds of UAVs in Ukraine tonight. One of the main targets was the capital of Kiev, according to pictures. Hostile aircraft intrusion reported in northern Israel. U.S. Embassy, Jerusalem, will be closed Tuesday. 13 hours, fire in the IRIB headquarters was finally extinguished completely after 13 hours. Al Jazeera, 8 U.S. senators have submitted legislation to prevent the U.S. from going to war with Iran. We do have the language officially from Thomas Massey of Kentucky. Israeli media report that red alert sirens didn't start sounding until the missiles were already arriving. Israel's sirens were activated later than expected. Over 30,000 Israelis have fled to Cyprus by boat since the Iran-Israel conflict has started. Smart. Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Yechiel Leiter, alludes to a large-scale assassination operation later this week. On Thursday, quote, "You will see surprises that will make the pager Hezbollah hits operation look simple." Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi says Iran's retaliatory actions against Israel will continue as long as necessary. Al Jazeera journalist has refuted Wall Street Journal claims that Iran has signaled an end to military action, saying no messages have been sent. They have not. That's all BS. And you have to be careful out there. That's why we do everything. A lot of what I'm reporting here is probably going to get walked back or isn't fully true. It is what it is. Fact is, there's an information war going on both sides. Trust me, both sides aren't doing as well as they would report to tell you. Israel is not having full spectrum dominance over all the globes and every single planet in the solar system, and Iran is not sitting there getting fueled by the, messiah of their religion and going to start shooting laser beams out of shark's eyes or anything. Like, all that is crap. All you do is read through it and you figure out what's actual. Urgent warning from the Chinese embassy to its citizens in Israel: leave immediately via land routes. Argentina and Germany have also demanded their citizens leave. Looks like the U.S. is going to strike Iran within 72 hours. I'm hearing from my sources that Trump has made his mind and the U.S. is going to act. I have been closely following something which has given me confirmation that the U.S. will be moving. We are very likely now committed to strike. That is from Aquila. I would say bet your bottom dollar that very well could happen. Might not, but very well could. Closely following something which has given me confirmation, committed to strike, yep. There's a tripler. Wow, that's a rare one, folks. Man, if this is a drinking game for you, we just had a tripler. So every once in a while we get a doubler. That's a tripler, baby. That's a big one. That means you got a drink. OpenAI has won a $200 million U.S. defense contract after recent partnership with DoD AI drone startup Anduril. Trump officials reverse guidance exempting farms, hotels from immigration raids. So if you're a farmer working somewhere and you're not fully, documented, you might want to work that out. FBI has discovered documents containing serious allegations concerning the 2020 thing that happened in November, including claims of interference by the CCP. No! You're kidding. I thought it was the most kick-ass thing ever. And that, it was the greatest thing ever. And everybody, 152 billion people came out to give their selection. You're kidding me. Chancellor Merz tells broadcasters, EDF, if Iran does not back down, complete destruction of Iranian nuclear program is on the agenda, which Israel cannot achieve alone. Trump says publicly seeking publicity-seeking President Emmanuel Macron of France mistakenly said that I left the G7 summit in Canada to go back to D.C. to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Wrong. He has no idea where I am right now in Washington, but it certainly has nothing to do with a ceasefire. Much bigger than that, whether purposefully or not. Emmanuel always gets it wrong. Stay tuned. Ooh, Brutal. Iran launched 380 ballistic missiles at Israel in 15 attacks so far. Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi, the assault on our national broadcasting organization demonstrated the obvious desperation of the Israelis. When they fail on the field of battle, they resort to targeting and striking a civilian center that only conveys the truth and informs. An Iranian missile directly struck a building in the greater Tel Aviv area. I'm trying to get rid of those posts, but I get moving, I'll put them in there. But I mean, everybody knows that missiles are hitting both sides, so. Around 20 to 30 missiles were launched from Iran toward Israel in this attack. Second time, Israel killed Iran's top war commander in an airstrike deep in Tehran. Israeli jets killed Ali Shadmani, Iran's highest-ranking military officer and chief war commander close to Supreme Leader Khomeini. Shadmani led Iran's emergency military HQ and oversaw both the IRGC and army. He was appointed after his predecessor, Alam Ali Rashid, was killed in the opening strikes. Amakai Stein, U.S. source, says it was crazy night in Washington. Everyone was working in the White House and the Pentagon. This may really be the Iranians' last chance before the U.S. actively joins in. I don't have any updates on the pizza monitor or the gay bar monitor, but as those reports come in, we'll tell you exactly how much those are being frequented from our friends on Twitter. Just absolutely pathetic that that's the way we can monitor things, to see how many people are going in there to get their knob shined up in the local fudge factory. Senior Israel official meets Segal. Bad, I know. Fewer Iranian missile launches are due to ongoing Israeli strikes. So far, 40% of Iran's launchers have been destroyed. Trump says Israel will ramp up its military campaign in Iran. You're going to find out over the next few days. China accuses Trump of throwing oil on the fire on Israeli-Iran war. Unconfirmed Iranian missile strikes today may have hit nearby Mossad HQ in Herzliya. On the second footage, cameraman says on the Mossad, they have managed to hit the Mossad. Wow. Yes, William Pence. There is an actual freaking monitor of that. Yes, and it is the Blue Oyster Bar. And for you, troll, this one's for you. What movie, folks? Put it into the chat if you know that one. Troll, don't give it away. Spain's foreign minister urges the EU to impose an arms embargo on Israel as long as the war continues. Iran recalls all doctors and nurses from their time off. Bad sign. Iranian army commander Haderi says a new wave of powerful attacks with advanced weapons has begun and will intensify in the coming hours. Nope, no one yet. Get that movie. What movie? Blue Oyster Bar. Russian missile hit so deep it punched through concrete floors into the basement of a Kiev high-rise 9-story building collapse. William Pence nailed it. Police Academy, baby. Steve Gutenberg, the 1984 classic. U.S. intelligence believes Israeli strikes delayed Iran's nuclear program by only a few months. Footage shows Iron Dome is ineffective against re-entry warheads from medium-range ballistic missiles. Once these missiles pass Arrow or THAAD defenses, they're nearly unstoppable. That is true. I mean, we'll see. We're going to be knowing here real soon. What's it? Yes, Monkey Garden, Monkey Food. Yeah, it's. I read this great thing that's saying that those people, air quotes, those people are like modern day eunuchs to the royalty of the empires of past. Pretty interesting article. When Israel launched strikes on Iran last week, it claimed Iran was nearing a nuclear joint point of no return. U.S. intelligence disagrees, assessing Iran wasn't actively pursuing a bomb and is still up to 3 years away from a deliverable weapon, according to officials. Tulsi Gabbard came out and said that. Trump has said, no, I don't care. I mean, It is what it is. IRGC, we successfully targeted Mossad IDF data centers this dawn. Breaking, when asked if U.S. involvement would destroy Iran's nuclear program, Trump replied, I hope it's wiped out long before that. Iran Cybersecurity Command bans the use of all connected devices for officials and their security detail. They're worried about the pager thing again. Israeli Defense Minister Katz to Khamenei, remember what happened to the dictator next door, Saddam Hussein, who took this path against Israel. Iran cyber attack cripples major state bank. Big Iranian ballistic missiles reportedly hit 2 sites in the IDF intelligence complex in Herzliya, including Dayan Camp, home to the military intelligence school. Geolocation confirms these strikes. Turkish President Erdogan says the current situation should not overshadow Gaza. Otherwise, the West Bank and East Jerusalem may also face the threat of occupation. ATMs across Iran are down due to a cyber attack, major cyber attack on a bank. Trump administration shelved an interagency working group to pressure Russia into speeding up peace talks with Ukraine. Effort established in spring lost steam in May as participants realized President Trump wasn't interested in a confrontational stance toward Moscow. I mean, why wouldn't he want to get confrontational with the world's largest arsenal of nuclear weapons? God, Trump is such a wuss. You should totally try to fight them and make a nuclear war happen, bro. Thank you for not going through with that, Trump. Seriously. Qatari Foreign Ministry, we are conducting all possible contacts with regional and international parties to de-escalate the situation. Qatari Foreign Ministry, we warn against the reckless targeting of energy facilities in Iran. Israeli move is miscalculated and will have repercussions on oil prices, you think? It appears Chinese embassy has begun evacuating staff from Tehran. Israeli army destroyed about half of Iran's ballistic missile launchers. Israeli Defense Minister, we will continue to target Iranian military leaders, missile systems, and the nuclear program. Israeli Defense Minister Katz, the United States helps us defend our land and does not participate in our attacks on Iran. Israeli Defense Minister Katz says we do not want to occupy Iran or overthrow the regime there. That's weird because Netanyahu's been saying it all week now, or the last couple days, whatever. And he also said Fordo is also an issue that will certainly be addressed. All right. Israeli officials say that in the coming days, IDF strikes against the Iranian regime will escalate. New targets will come into the Air Force's crosshairs. There are more than 10 nuclear targets in Tehran area itself. We're on the verge of destroying these sites, according to IDF. Xi Jinping calls on Israel and Iran to work as quickly as possible towards de-escalation. Channel 14, we are 48 critical hours away from a war with Iran. By the way, Channel 14 is basically Netanyahu's voice. Kind of like CNN is to the State Department here in America. That's Channel 14 Israel. IAEA reports new evidence of direct hits on the Tanz underground facility. U.S. Air Force F-22s, F-35s en route to the Middle East as part of a U.S. move to boost regional defenses. As follows: on June 16th, the deployment of U.S. Air Force refueling planes with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordering more assets to CENTCOM. Trump is meeting with his national security team on the Israeli-Iran war, the White House Situation Room. Spanish airline Iberia has expressed, Spanish airline Iberia Express suspends flights to Israel until October 25th. Ooh. Well, thank you so much, Range Master, my friend. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I'll give you a little heart, a little love. Oh, hold on, come on. Come on. There we go. Love you, bud. Love you. All right, moving on. There's no indication Trump intends to get involved in the Iran conflict. Starmer. Let's see. And there we go. U.S. forces no longer present in 2 bases in Syria. Chancellor Merz on Iran. Israel is doing the dirty work for all of us, you think? More coffee. J.D. Vance says Trump could take additional action against Iran's nuclear program. Isn't it wondrous, friends, when I have nothing to do and I get good sleep, how much I can come here? I love it. I can also see an increase in some of the hate comments. Let me make something adamantly clear. If you send the hate comments, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'll probably pin it and say something that'll make your little stupid comment look stupid. Okay? So if you want to call me names or whatever, I'm not going to go away. I'm gonna throw it right back in your face, and I can assure you there's a pretty darn good chance that my comment will make yours look stupid. J.D. Vance says Trump could take additional action against Iran's nuclear program. Iran National Cyber Security Command says Israel launched a massive cyber war against the country's digital infrastructure. Israeli Air Force destroying Iranian missile systems in broad daylight, Tehran. Iran's Chief of General Staff, General Musavi, says leave Haifa and Tel Aviv immediately. Iran Chief of General Staff, Musavi, says all operations that were conducted against Israel were a deterrence warning to Israel. Punitive operations will come soon. That is from General Abdul Rahim Musavi. Let me at the haters. Hey, look, William Pence, it's like I say, I don't come down to your job and knock the fry basket when you're getting done with your onion rings as you're working your job there, okay? I don't do that. I don't knock the fry basket out of your hand. I let you continue your little $9 an hour job. Netanyahu believes that Trump is likely to enter the war in the coming days to bomb Iran's underground enrichment facility. Iranian security source to R.A. Novosti, Tehran has winning cards and Israel will soon see something it did not expect. Iranian sources allege Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei and his family have been sheltering in an underground bunker since Israeli operations have begun. And Iran's Chief of General Staff Musavi says we have dealt severe blows to the enemy and its sensitive and vital targets. Thailand government has ordered its military to prepare plans to evacuate citizens from Israel and Iran. Now, I don't know if it's plans, planes, or both, but both are probably going to probably happen. We're going to take planes and make plans to get the people out. Elon Musk has posted that he's got no drugs in his system. He took a drug test. All results are negative, baby, meaning no drugs are there, okay? Actually, you're right, Hudson Valley. They do get 15 hours. Actually, in the restaurants I've worked, the fry side folks are the best. Okay, let's just take a moment to give a little bit of love for the fry side, okay? None of that cold side stuff where they're making the salads. No, we're talking fry side, baby. You guys are the master of onion rings. There was this guy that worked at this restaurant I worked at. He was there for 5-8 years, and he was quitting. He was moving. And what the upper management did, because this place was like a brewery, like type place, well, the onion rings were one of the most loved things on the menu. And they did for his last night, just to mess with him, they put half-price onion rings, knowing that it is literally like the worst thing for a fry side guy to do. And oh my Lord, that poor guy, he made more onion rings in that night than he probably did in the 6 months prior. He's no longer with us. His name was Don, and God bless you, Don. I know wherever you are, buddy, today, this one's for you, dude. His name is R.O.D., right on, Don. Elon Musk posts his drug test. He's good. Taiwan tests sea drones as China keeps up military pressure. Over 600 foreigners flee Iran into Azerbaijan, according to Baku officials. Russia says Israel is reluctant to accept outside mediation over Iran conflict. A plane carrying hundreds of Hajj pilgrims back from Saudi Arabia has diverted in Indonesia after a threat to blow up Saudi Arabian airlines. Wow. Okay, so Bad Bobber, Kitco Gold, $33.85, silver, 37 and change, crude oil, 73.67. Yes, your prices are going up. And if I'm going to really mess with you about your job, it's going to probably be something about you being a fluffer out in California. A plane carrying hundreds of Hajj pilgrims from Saudi Arabia diverted in Indonesia and threat to blow up Saudi airlines. Israeli forces kill 51 Palestinians waiting for flour at Gaza aid site, BBC. Ukraine urges citizens to leave Israel, Iran as soon as possible. So what, go back to Ukraine? Like, if you're in Israel or Iran or Ukraine, go anywhere but those three countries, okay? Even the north of Paris would be a better place right now. Israel warns Iran's Khamenei he risks a fate like Saddam. I told you, William, man, don't mess with me. I can use, I had an older brother and he used to jack with me hard, man. You want to bring it? I can stand there toe to toe and go back insult for insult. I got him. China's Xi, deeply worried about Israel's military action against Iran. Trump says EU not offering fair deal on trade. Kraft Heinz will remove all the chemical dyes from its food. Indonesia, Mount Lewatobi, Laki volcano has erupted. Unleash colossal ash tower, alert raised, highest level. By the way, if you have not seen this freaking volcano, the ash cloud is immense. It didn't even fit in like a camera on vertical. Like it is absolutely nuts how big this thing is. Kind of like my ego. Iran media report widespread internet disruptions. I couldn't resist. U.S. military is deploying more fighter aircraft to the Middle East and extending the deployment of other warplanes. Man, I'm having fun. President Trump, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but it's safe there. We're not going to take him out. Kill. At least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Back where you were. All right. Trump posts unconditional surrender amid series of Iranian messages. Israeli officials say Netanyahu believes the U.S. will likely enter the war within days. United States military is preparing for the possibility that President Donald Trump decides to order the U.S. Air Force to help refuel Israeli fighter jets as they carry out strikes over Iran. Bring me the Solo and the Wookiee. Home to Death Note to Jedi. Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs. The mission in Iran is nearly complete. ICE has arrested the New York City comptroller, male candidate Brad Lander. What's it? Please, someone tell Mad Shad what that is. ICE has... Oh, man. Sometimes I look down and I read the chat and I got to stop for a minute and just bask in the glory. Yeah, you do not want to be a fluffer. ICE has arrested the New York City comptroller and mayoral candidate Brad Lander. Well, that's big news, man. I guess ICE is going after it. They're throwing down. Reuters Institute digital news report shows a decline of traditional media and the rise of alternative platforms. AI news is also on the rise with higher adoption in Asia compared to Europe. Maybe it's because all of our mainstream media sucks. Huh? Who'd have thought after many decades of just lying through their freaking teeth that people would kind of get pissed off at it and start to do their own thing? Fertility rate in the U.S. keeps sinking and sinking. Anyone telling you that the world is overpopulated is lying through their teeth. Good Lord, friends. If you're of a certain political background, feel free to make love with your married loved one and go forth and prosper. Bring many fruits to the earth. Go have children and children and children, because let me tell you, we are declining and things are not good when it comes to population, and you're going to see a bit of a collapse. Asia is really bad way right now, and the only places that are kind of keeping it up are the kind of people you might not be, you just might disagree with them. Just saying. Fertility rate in the U.S. keeps sinking. Left-wing extremists set dozens of Amazon Telecom vans on fire. Whoa, this is a leftist extremist violent moment. This is a leftist extremist violent moment. I was thinking earlier, I'm going to start a channel if I ever get kicked off here. I'm going to start a channel, and it's going to be called Violence of the Left. And every day, we're just going to pick our story of all the just, because there's one every day. Every freaking day, some mentally ill POS comes in and says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go burn dozens of Amazon and telecom vans. I'm going to go take out a Minnesota state senator. You guys are nuts. You're nuts. People don't think this way. Total of 20 U.S. tankers confirmed accompanying squadrons of F-35s, F-16s, now en route to the Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia. Randy Fine, representative, nuking Gaza would be a terrible idea. Do you think? Yeah, I would agree with that. Fallout would drift to... No. You mean Israel is downwind? Well, what could happen there? And it'll kill hostages. Yeah, it'll basically kill everyone. But you're not worried about it killing, for example, women and children in Gaza, CNN said. And Randy Fine said war is a messy thing. It is true. 5 KC 46 tankers moving out from Ramstein. AFB, Gold 71, round trip, Ramstein. Gold 72, bound for Suda Bay, about to pick up the first cell of F-16s. Trend 31, bound for Prince Sultan, KSA. Gold 81 and Gold 82 are on their way for Trend 51. Ahmadinejad, former president of Iran, has been taken out along with his family, and I heard it was point blank and messy. Ugh. Tehran is under constant bombardment by Israeli forces. It is estimated that the Iranians have approximately 1,800 ballistic missiles remaining, according to Channel 12. I don't know about that. Maybe. Iranian forces retreated to the center of the country as a result of our strikes and continue to pursue them. Israeli Air Force attacked and destroyed at least 12 missile bases of Iran today. U.S. Representative Thomas Massie, I just introduced an Iran War Powers resolution to prohibit U.S. involvement in the Israeli-Iran war. This is not our war. Even if it were, Congress must decide which matters according to our Constitution. I would agree, Tommy. U.S. Senator Lady Graham says taking the Ayatollah's regime down is a good thing, not a bad thing. I'm willing to risk what happens next. Oh, are you? Are you, Lady Graham? Russian Foreign Ministry, Israel's ongoing attacks on peaceful nuclear facilities in Iran are illegal and are pushing the world toward a nuclear catastrophe. Russia calls on the Israeli leadership to come to its senses and stop raids on Iranian nuclear installations and sites. U.S. State Department has established a Middle East task force to help coordinate support for U.S. citizens, diplomatic missions, and personnel amid the conflict between Israel and Iran. State Department, U.S., Trump is seeking a durable ends to the nature of forever wars. Your lips to God's ears. IRGC says that they targeted Israeli air bases in their latest attack. Netanyahu, Iran planned to produce 300 missiles per month, 22,000 within 6 years, equivalent to 2 nuclear bombs. We will see a different Middle East than we have ever seen before, according to Netanyahu. Trump backed away from sending senior officials to meet with the Iranians to try to reach an agreement. American and Israeli intelligence assessed that Israel could intercept missiles for 12 days without American support. Israeli defense systems may intercept a smaller percentage of rockets by the end of the week. This is an important one. Listen up to this one. Israel will have to choose what it wants to intercept, and the Israeli defense system is already exhausted. And I think that's kind of what Iran is playing on right now. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But if they're really kind of having issues, I think they would have given up by now. And I think these little 15 to 30 missile salvos are just trying to slowly deplete the air defenses, and then they're going to send in a big daddy. Yemen's Houthis will intervene in support of Iran against Israel, citing Iran's past backing of Gaza. Trump's meeting with his national security team in the Situation Room is over after an hour. Okay, don't have any ideas on what that is yet. Iranian state TV has called on Iranian citizens to delete WhatsApp and Instagram immediately. And U.S. Navy forces based in Bahrain have been deployed out to sea. That, my friends, is just what I've gotten since this morning. 45 minutes, and there's probably another 15 minutes waiting in the background right now. Good Lord. It is popping off, man. It is popping off. Hopefully you guys would describe to Mad Shad what a fluffer is. Mad Shad, good to see you, brother. William Penn's correct. Just prep and do the best you can. That's all you can do. I get so mad when people are like, oh, that's all you got? That's like all you got? You only have that much? Like, don't do that to people, man. Some people are just starting to prepping. Be encouraging. Be like, wow, that looks great, man. Great job. Why don't you try doing this? Be helpful. Add value, right? Like me calling people randomly on the internet who I don't know fluffers. Just be as positive as possible, friends. That is your crisis report. Please consider becoming a member like Howard Clegg and Winning Streak. I really appreciate your help. You make it so I can come back for more. And trust me, there's gonna be more. Ark Living, the man, the legend. My man, Ark, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. You had one of the best channels. You're not there much anymore, but you had one of my favorite channels out there. I'll tell you what, one of my homies. Ark, it's good to see you, brother. Thank you so much for doing that. Friends, it's happening, okay? Gas prices, all this stuff's going to keep going up. All of it. By the way, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to be doing a 5 Wise Men of Prepping on PrepperNow on Sunday evening. I got to work out the time. I'm thinking 7:30, 8 o'clock, okay? That'll have my own mod, my one of my preferred and my favorites, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. That'll have Prepper Dog. That'll have Modern Refugee. And that'll have Roaming Prepper. Can we do me a favor? Can you do me a favor? Can we get Roaming Prepper above 5,000 subscribers, please? And can we get Hudson Valley above 10,000 subscribers, please? And can we get Prepper Dog to 25,000 subscribers, please? And can we get Modern Refugee? I don't know where he's at, but he's got to be close to 40, if not over. Come on, folks. These are great channels. We love them. They've got great things to say, and that's why I like doing these live streams with them, because every time I do it, I don't want to put the microphone down. I want to keep talking to them. So please, please, please. Oh, yes, that's right, SEG. Remember when you and I were working as fluffers together side by side in Oakland? You silly little rabbit, you. All right, friends, God bless. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. Please do not get a job as a fluffer, and be kind to each other, because that's the best way to be. But I'll tell you what, if you're going to dish it out, we're going to sling it back. God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.